Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. First of all, before we go any further, can you hear me? Can you see me? Set up some merch. Welcome to the Serial at Midnight merch table. I thought it'd be a good idea to pop up some shirts in the back and just remind people that you can actually purchase the shirts that I wear. I'm gonna clean. Hold on a second. Camera seems a little smudgy. I don't know if that's any better. I might be overlit. How's everybody doing today, man? We got so much to talk about. I've got like a full show here to run down. We're gonna kick it off with the Best Buy conversation because the story has continued to develop after the Serial at Midnight cameras went dark. The story continued to develop. So the first and foremost, the Best Buy news has been confirmed by Variety. I believe Variety actually got a statement from Best Buy on the record, and they it's interesting because Best Buy, they gave a statement and they said something like, with the ever-changing model of blah blah blah, we need all the space, like we need that space for other things. I'm like, what? Have you been in a Best Buy lately? So my Best Buy is like a ghost town. It's like half abandoned. You walk in and I mean you could drive a car around the store, right? I mean, it's huge floor space. So I think that's probably just a line. Um, but I somebody said, how long ago did this start? 1 minute ago. So you're just in time. By the way, I would like to encourage Liquid Death once again if they would like to sponsor Cereal at Midnight. I'm enjoying a rest in tea, peach tea with it's with agave and vitamins. We're going to talk about sponsorships a little bit later in this episode because people keep asking me about sponsorships. And I think I've said it in a lot of videos, but I don't know that everybody has seen those videos. So I'll talk because like supporting creators is really important, right? Because I'm just kind of leading into it. Like, I don't do sponsorships most of the time because I don't think that it's organic. It's like, I get all these offers from like DVD ripping software and like, would you like to check out our new blah blah blah? Like, no, that has nothing to do with what we talk about. So I turn it down. But support for the people that not just for me, support for any account, any YouTube person or just creator is really important. Best Buy, you guys, saying that they need floor space for other things, I don't know. But I've been reaching out to some people behind the scenes since that video went up. Hey guys, I want to say hey to one of the things I did this time that I didn't do last time is there was an option when I was clicking this over when I was setting it up, and it was like chat archive, and I don't think I checked that last time. So now this chat archive should be in the comments section, or you should be able to see this even after, like in the replay. For people that missed this, you should still be able to see it in the replay, the chat archive. So I should also say the last time I went live, super chat wasn't even a thing. I don't even think it was a way you could do that. So for those that did super chat last time, I was kind of surprised by it. I was like, what is this? It kind of threw me. Super chat questions are welcome. It's one way to support Serial at Midnight without it's just like a really nice organic way. So I will prioritize those questions if you got super chat questions. Thanks to everybody that did that last time. I hope I didn't miss a question. I got to thinking about that after, because I was like, people did super chats, but I don't think they asked the question. So if you did and I missed it, I'm so sorry. Let me know this time. But yeah, super chats are welcome. Best Buy, I've been reaching out to people, and because I wanted to know, there's like that was this past week's news, right? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about what's going on with Best Buy because people like me think that, well, yeah, this is a natural progression of what's going on with physical media. I said it all in that video. Hopefully you saw it. But like, as the mainstream interest continues to kind of go down because the average like casual person is streaming, as that continues to decline, the boutique market is rising. But listen, like that doesn't help. Like Best Buy is not interested in the boutique market. Best Buy is looking for those big Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, that kind of stuff. They're wanting the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, the big the Avatar, right? What's the big news? I got it in my notes here. Prey. We just got the sales numbers from this past week, and it was actually the sales numbers are from the period ending on the last day of September, I think. But we're just getting those numbers. And Prey leading. Prey was the best selling disc of that period. The Prey 4K. Well, it's not just 4K, but we're talking about the Predator movie That's amazing. It was a streaming exclusive. That's what, that's what most people are going into these stores for. And is that like the market is changing. And I think that maybe in my video, I don't think, I know. I come from a very different perspective, right? Because I've been doing this for so long. I'm multiple decades into my fandom. I'm getting a mailbox full of new releases every single week. By the way, in this video, we're going to talk about this week's new media mail that hit my mailbox this week. But none of it's big. I actually have one thing. The big thing, that the big mainstream release for me is, and this isn't even, I don't even think this came out last week. I think this is 2 weeks ago, but it came from outer space. You might find that at a Best Buy. But people didn't know. This is what I was so surprised by, is that there were so many people who felt like I was being a beehole because I was like, we knew this was coming. People did not know it was coming. Like I think probably if you're here and you've been watching my channel, I'm seeing the comments. Best Buy hasn't been relevant in years. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that knew, but there are a lot of people that didn't know, who thought that Best Buy was still the hub of physical media. Like they think that that's where it's all happening. And I think I stepped on toes, and I hate that I stepped on toes, because I wasn't trying to be dismissive of anybody. Somebody called me a gatekeeper. They called me a gatekeeper a-hole, and I was like, well, I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm trying to like say, hey, this way, this is where we've all gone. Come with us. And they're like, screw you, gatekeeper. I'm like, okay, well, the experience you're chasing is dying. It's going to somewhere else. So I reached out to some people in the industry. I saw some numbers that were really surprising to me. So I wanted to know how much of a impact, how relevant was Best Buy still? That's kind of what I wanted to know. Now, I don't know if I can verify this number. I saw the number 4% of the overall physical media, the retail, that's, however we want to quantify it. Best Buy was about 4% of that market, which to me, I see that, I'm like, that's tiny. That is infinitesimal. That is a very small amount of business. But those people that are supporting that experience, or that are, look, some people seem to still have good Best Buys in their area, which I told you, like the last time I went in Best Buy is rough. But people were having good experiences. So I guess that's the 4%. They are 4%, but they're allowed. I mean, and listen, any loss, somebody was hammering this point really hard, and I'm going to, like, any loss for physical media is bad. Like, it's not good. I just wasn't surprised by it. I want to be clear. I think that it's not physical media that's in decline. I think it's the retail experience that's in decline. And just the casual buying. Most people aren't interested in buying movies anymore. I think we might get back to that, because we've seen what's happened with vinyl, and I'm seeing it with music now too. I do a lot of thrifting. By the way, I shot a thrift store video this week. Should be up. Sneak peek for this week. We got a new interview, a horror related interview hitting the channel this week, and a new thrift store video. It's the biggest thrift store video in a couple of years. But CDs, right, they were going down in value. Like, CDs were $1, two for $1. Now they're going up. They're much more in demand, because I think people realize, I stream music on Spotify or wherever, but I have this. And I think it's that tangible experience of like opening the case, reading the notes, looking at the album artwork. I think people are starting to realize that they're missing that. I see that happening with movies over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that we're going to see Best Buy, what's happening with Best Buy. Like, I don't think they're long for this world. I don't know. Somebody was like, Best Buy's fine. Don't worry about them. I don't think they're long for the world. And I think a lot of these retail stores, what I've been saying is that there was a big boom. There was a big consumer boom in the 90s, predated the dot-com boom, but that was kind of part of it. That's all going away. That's crumbling now. We have these huge corporations, Best Buy and Target and Walmart, and there's more, regional areas have different stores. Like you could get into Meijer is one. It's not in my area, but I've been in a Meijer. I think there's a Meijer in Louisville, Kentucky. When I went to Wonderfest in Louisville, I think I hit up a Meijer, and I was like, they have movies and toys here. But I don't know how long these stores are going to survive, because the younger generations want a more, I'm going to use the word again, boutique. They want a more boutique experience, right? We want more like smaller, more customized personal experiences. We don't want this big anonymous experience. When was the last time you went into Walmart and like saw someone that you could ask for help? You know, and somebody pointed out that they said, like when I go in Target, most of the people in Target, I think this was Mike from Patreon. So when I go in Target, most of the people in Target are pushing their personal shoppers, or they're pushing those carts, filling things up for other people that won't come in the store. I think that experience is going away. That big retail killed the mom and pop experience, and now big retail is in trouble. And out of those ashes, I think we may see the rise again of the mom and pop experience. I really hope so. Because I think that that's the better way. We talk all the time about supporting indie, and I'm indie, and that's one of the go back to the support channels and people that you care about, because I don't want to feel like I'm giving you a commercial experience or like some sort of artificial money hungry experience. I'm not sponsored by stamps or mattresses or services that exist to sell you things. Like a good organic sponsorship is one thing, support directly from you, that's another thing. But we're entering a new era where I think it's becoming more and more important to just have that one-on-one, that feeling of community. Like my record store, I have a great record store. There was a record store in my town that had been there for like 40 years. I mean, it had been there for forever, and it went out of business because people started going to the other record store that popped up that would order whatever you wanted when you walked in. Like when I go in there, they're like, "Hey, how's the channel go?" Like they know me. You can't replace that. I mean, that one-on-one community experience, I think it's coming back. It's how it used to be. I know a lot of people in their 20s or their 30s, they're like, "What is he talking about?" It's how everything used to be. When you went to your local hardware store, you knew the people that worked there. Walmart, before it was a big super center, we had a Walmart before super centers existed. We knew the people that worked there. When you walked in, you're like, "Oh, it's my friend's mom working at the jewelry counter." Like it was a more community experience. We've gotten so anonymous now. So somebody said McKay's. I'm not familiar with McKay's, but I'm seeing a lot of support for what I'm saying. Like Best Buy won't last much more. Um, yeah, I mean, Best Buy is the Circuit City. Service merchandise. I forgot about service merchandise. Holy cow. I remember I got didn't service merchandise, some of the stuff you had to take like a ticket to a counter in the back, and it was like a warehouse, and there was a conveyor belt, and the person would like someone in the back would put your item on the conveyor belt. It would come down, and then they'd hand it to you, and then you walk out the door. I forgot that place existed. Now I'm having these flashbacks. I remember going to Pensacola, Florida, 1999, the year 1999, and they had service merchandise was going out of business. And I went into the one in Pensacola, Florida, and I remember that all the Star Wars Phantom Menace toys were on clearance. And I don't know if I bought anything. I don't remember that. I just remember like thinking like this is the end of an era, you know? But that was over 20 years ago. And I think that experience is coming back. Yes, it's a warehouse. Cool. That's Man, I can't believe I forgot all about that. I want to shout this out. Best Buy is literally, this is from, I don't know is it okay? Like, if your name's here, I can say it, right? I don't want to put anybody on blast, but like, I don't want to, this chat's going to be visible to everybody. It says Best Buy, Garrick says it's literally the only place, the location where they can get any discs. They hate having to order everything online nowadays, and they despise Amazon. I despise Amazon too, even though I do share Amazon affiliate links because, listen, it's one way for me to put money back into the channel. Those affiliate, it's like 3 cents on the dollar, but I need all the support that I can get. So that's one of the reasons that I do that. And because some of the other places don't have affiliate programs, but Amazon is such a terrible artificial experience. It's that disconnected, anonymous thing. And then you order stuff and it comes damaged and it's all beat up. I get the importance of having that retail experience, but I just think that time's moving on. I don't think it's going to last. I don't see how it can last much longer at that big, huge level, because the people that are running these companies like Best Buy, they don't care about that. They don't care about being a source for your video games or for your movies. I just don't think they care. And that's kind of what I go back to the statement that came out when they're like, well, we need the floor space. No, you don't. For what? Their floor space is already wide open when you go in there. They've gotten rid of just about everything that they ever sold. It's cell phones now, and it's TVs, and I don't know. I think that it's like, having been collecting for as many years as I have, for the decades that I have, I've seen this before. It's going away. Like, that business is going to die, and something else will replace it that has a better, you know, a better customer interface, something that feels better and works better. And I'm not saying Amazon is it because it's not. In the meantime, Diabolic DVD, places like Grindhouse, right? There's places we can get our stuff. Um, Floor space for what? River dance. Yeah, yeah. You know how they go out there and they dance. They do the Coyote Ugly dance. Um, Somebody said, let's see, where did it go? This is going fast. There's a lot of you guys here. Thanks you so much for showing up. I really appreciate this. I love doing these live things. I should, yeah, steelbooks. Let's talk about steelbooks because that was Best Buy has been a great place for steelbooks. I feel like somebody else is going to pick them up because Best Buy didn't make them; they just sold them. Maybe now that goes to Target because Target still, I mean, for now, knock on wood, they're still doing physical media. At least in my town, they're still doing it. It'll go somewhere. It could go to Walmart. Walmart was talking about buying the distribution area, like let's start our own distribution because they still like most of the discs that are sold through Walmart. Like physically, but that experience is in transition too. But I hear things, I hear rumblings, like people are getting more interested again. So I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I just know that I've been here before, and this feels very familiar. I don't want to move on from this until you guys are ready because I know you're still talking. But like, it's the important thing for me is to say, like, yeah, I see you, I understand. I hate that this is like an option that's going away for people. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your collection. And I do think that on the other side of this, there will be something better. It may not be there yet, but we're seeing changes. And I think on the other side of this, it will be better. We're getting back to a more face-to-face kind of experience. And it will eventually hit media, And let's talk about streaming really quick because as streaming continues, like streaming is imploding. It is imploding. Millions, like these studios have put all their marbles on streaming, right? And we know why, because they own it. They don't have to, there's no there's server costs, but there's no distribution costs. They're not trucking it to stores. They're not sending it to Amazon. There's no warehouse transportation, right? So we know why they want streaming to succeed because they get to have everything, get to have their cake and eat it too, control everything, control every aspect of the distribution, make it, like put it on streaming, take it down, put it in the vault, put it back up. I know why, but millions of people are leaving streaming platforms every single month and every single year. All these streaming services are the studios that own the streaming services, not Netflix, but like Warner Brothers and Disney Plus. They are losing billions of dollars. That's billions with a B that they're losing. I don't know how much longer they can do this. And I think that when they look at something like Prey, I think it was a test. They're like, well, let's trickle Prey out on physical media. Okay, a Nightmare Before Christmas. What are some of the other, like those, The Mandalorian, Loki, right? They're like, well, those did well. Let's put those out and see if they sell. And of course they're selling, right? So I think that we're seeing an implosion of streaming, and studios are going to have to embrace that physical model again. And I'm seeing signs of it everywhere. I'm seeing more, like on Twitter, someone today that has no vested interest in physical media was like, somebody with over 100,000 followers was like, who else buys discs from time to time? I know I do. And people were like, yeah, I do. Like it's one of the things that I don't think it's just going to continue to decline. I think it will hit a bottom and then go back up again. But it's up to us. Share it with people, like because I think a lot of you guys here have told me, well, I'm the physical media guy in my friend circle. When I talk about physical media, they think I'm crazy, that kind of a thing. Be like, you're the one that's crazy. I mean, don't be a jerk about it. Be like, you idiot, you're the one, you suck. Don't do that. But like, we are the voices of reason in our friend circles, right? When people say streaming or like physical media, why? Okay, so in the thrift store the other day when I was filming my video, this older couple was like, do you want to look at the movies? The husband said, you want to look at the movies? Because it's always the guys, right? He's like, you want to look at the movies? And she said, no, it's all on streaming anyway. And of course, like, I don't know these people, so I'm not going to be like, actually, push my glasses up and then launch into a lecture. I'm not going to be like, well, actually, Most of these movies are not on streaming because streaming is more and more relying on the vault system, and they take things off and they don't put it back up again for a long time. There are shows that they launched with that I didn't even get to watch because they took them back off, and in some cases they just deleted them from existence. Like, I think the thinking from the average Joe is that it's all on streaming, but really almost nothing is on streaming. It's like, if these studios use streaming as their catalog, like a library for their catalog, well, that'd be amazing, right? But it would also give, like, they don't want to do that. And we know why they don't want to do that, because they would be just giving it all to us. Like, here, $7, you got open access to our vault. Like, they're not going to do that. But they could, but they don't. And so we get, like 30 movies that come and go. They curate it for us. Maybe that's the right way. I don't know. Kevin said he's going to turn into a street corner physical media preacher. Stand on my box, start saying like, repent, repent. It's time to get back to the discs. It's weird, Kevin, because I never really, like, I do talk so much about physical media, but I don't necessarily want to. I hate that so much focus is placed on the delivery system and not on what's on the disc, because that's what I'd rather talk about. I'd rather talk to you guys about It Came from Outer Space and 50s sci-fi and Cold War paranoia. Um, and I'll have to find other ways to do that, because I've always say I'm more interested in what's on the disc than on the disc itself. But I, we need people need you need preachers, you need street preachers. I'll be one of them, and I'll be one of them that's not trying to cram. Gonna get myself in trouble. I'll be one of them that actually knows what he's talking about and actually has watched some movies in his lifetime. Oh, it amazes me when I tune into some of these other channels and they're like, I got this and I got this, and have no idea what they've bought. They haven't seen it, the no experience. And that's great because they got a great experience ahead of them, but we don't get to see that part of it. If it ever happens. So that's that's I'm not trying to put it again. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but I would love to be one of the patron saints of collecting media. But my message is, all right, you got the discs now. Let's watch them. Let's talk about them. All right, guys, let's move it to another topic. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about was the Prime Day deals. Did anybody pick up anything for the Prime Day? What do they call it? Prime Big Day deals or something like that. I bought nothing. Nothing. So part of that's because I had, like, the things that I would have bought, like National Lampoon's Vacation, I already had. I got to review that disc. But some of the other stuff that I would have wanted, it just wasn't that good of a deal. So I go to, here's the secret, okay? Camel.com. It's an Amazon price tracker. And you can go, you copy the ASIN, the Amazon store ID number, post it in Camel, and it'll show you the price history of that item. And so a lot of those things were not any cheaper than they have been. And in some cases, they were more expensive than they had been. So it's one of those things where, like, sometimes they raise the prices, but then again, there were some really great deals that you like. They're up here. The Universal 4K, the Universal Monster collections, the 4K Monster collections, $29 for those. I paid 50, and I thought, no, maybe I paid 60. Oh, super chat. Okay, so MK Solid 82, thank you so much for the super chat. There's nowhere to shop anymore. Everything. By the way, I don't have the ability to put it on screen. That's a software program that I may have by the next time you guys see one of these. It's $20 a month. I want to make sure people were going to show up before I started to spend money. That's another reason. Support the channels you care about. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I'm spending money actively every single week on this channel. There's nowhere to shop anymore. Everything closes at 9 p.m. I remember when Tower Records closed at midnight, movies and toys were always fully stocked. We never had a Tower Records here. The closest one was in New Orleans, which was amazing. I love that town. Just going there. There was one in Orlando and there was one in New Orleans. And Mecca, man. Mecca. The idea of going in those places, and it was just like multiple floors, right? I think the one in New Orleans was at least 2 floors. And then I remember when that store closed. And it was like 2004 or something like that. And that was really sad. And then one by one. But I I hope that we can get back to that sort of an experience. They might still close at 9 because I don't know I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, those were some great days. I'm glad that you got to experience that because it like we were there, right? Oh, we got another super chat. All right, this is from Bean Dude 99. Love your channel, dude. Thank you so much. Which 70s TV show already where 70s TV shows already on DVD do you think have a chance of eventually making it to Blu-ray? MASH, Chips, any others? I don't think Chips. I think it's too dated. MASH, yes, because it's so beloved and people still watch MASH and it's still relevant too. Chips, I feel like it's kind of rooted in its time. But I mean, it could happen. I got Chips right over here. I can't see the spot. Who put Chips out? Is that I'm trying to think of what studio that is. Um Definitely MASH though. I think okay, hold on. I'm trying to think of 70s shows. So we know Columbo's coming. Guys, help me think of some 70s TV shows that we don't already have. So part of that is like so 70s you're going to be probably going for like a baby boomer or very older Gen X audience. Brady Bunch. Oh man, Brady Bunch. I would love a Brady Bunch Blu-ray set. That would be a good candidate. All in the Family, I think, is trapped on video. It's VHS, right? Shot on videotape. So I don't see a Blu-ray for that. Or any of those other shows. The Jeffersons, no. All in the Family, no. Jeffersons, no. What are the Maude? No. Anything with a sitcom slant that's shot on videotape? No, it's not. I don't think it's coming. Happy Days would be amazing, but here's the thing with Happy Days, and the reason they stopped with the DVDs is because the music rights are so expensive that they couldn't clear all the original music. And then of course the diehard fans are like, well, I'm not going to buy it if it doesn't have the original music. And so it was a CBS, I think CBS Paramount was like, well, we can't afford the music because you're not going to buy it. And so it kind of canceled each other out. So they stopped with season 6 on that, I believe. So I don't see that happening either because the music rights aren't going to get better; they're going to get worse. I'd like Emergency on Blu-ray too. I'd like Adam 12 on Blu-ray, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're having a hard time. Universal outsourced Adam 12 to Shout Factory, so now those seasons are like retail $30 each, which is who's going to buy that? So I don't know. But Emergency, Emergency. Like here's the thing. What we talk about right now in 2023 may not I don't necessarily see a possibility for it right now, but 5 years, maybe so. Because those costs, DVD costs, Blu-ray costs continue to go down. I just hope it doesn't get licensed out. Ooh, Eric, Kojak. Yes, Kojak would be great. Again, we don't even have a complete series DVD set for that in the USA. Now, Vivision, I think, put that out in Australia, and I think there's a Euro release or like a British release. We don't even have that in America. Why? The Waltons, I don't know if those shows sell well. Also, like Little House on the Prairie, I think did not do well. That's what I had heard is that it didn't do well. Taxi is a great show. I think Taxi is one of those shows that people who know, like it's the band your favorite band listens to. I think Taxi is one of those kind of shows where like people that really like smart comedy really like Taxi. Taxi's great. I don't know how well it would sell, but I would be there. Man, that show is great. Riga. Yeah, that's a lot of Mork and Mindy. I don't know. I think that's videotape, but no video, no Mork and Mindy shot on film, if memory serves. So it could. But again, what's the audience for this? Because if somebody's going to put this out, they're going to want to sell at least 10,000 copies. And I don't know. Sanford and Son, I think, is Sanford and Son videotape. Mannix. It's one of the greatest theme songs ever. Lalo Schifrin, same guy that did Mission Impossible. Soap was on videotape, which by the way, I just picked that up. I ordered it like in May or something from Amazon for $12.99, and it was constantly out of stock. And I got it like a month ago. They were like, "We got it now," so I got it for $12.99. Yeah, Buffy and Angel. would be great. First of all, 4K for TV shows, not happening anytime soon because it's too expensive. I just want to throw that out there. 4K is you're looking at an average of like $5 per disc manufacturing cost for a 4K disc. A TV show with like 100 episodes, way too cost prohibitive. But you can do Blu-ray for like 78 cents or something like that. So that would be way more likely. Oh man, these are coming in hot and heavy. Grizzly Adams, too obscure, I think, but it's a fun show. Yeah, Grizzly Adams had a beard. Grizzly Adams did have a beard. Muppet Show's caught up with music rights, I believe. It's another one of those things where they have to spend too much to clear the music, and it erases the profits. Though I have been watching it on Disney Plus, and I guess those rights are different. Dukes of Hazzard, I would love Dukes of Hazzard on Blu-ray. At a time, I had heard they were working on it. That's like I have no official statement. I heard through the source that they were working on it. But then everything, like then Warner Brothers caught on fire. You know, that was two CEOs ago. So I don't know. And then like it's not, you know, there's a rebel flag on top of the car, and these days I don't know that any studio wants to deal with the backlash for that. Not you know, I grew up with that show. I love that show, and I'm doing a rewatch right now. But there's so much heat that could come out of that. I don't know. WKRP videotape. Charlie's Angels. We got a Blu-ray. Charlie's Angels is on Blu-ray, and it looks as good as it's probably ever gonna look. Let's see. Yeah, Shout Factory. Was it Shout Factory who put that Grizzly Adams out on DVD? I did get the 4K. I do not have the 4K of Battlestar Galactica, the Battlestar Galactica movie. I did not pick that up yet. I'm honestly waiting on a sale because I've got the series and I've got that movie already. So like paying $20 for something I already have. And let's face it, let's be honest, like the 4K upgrade, like VHS to DVD, DVD to Blu-ray, Blu-ray to 4K. You know, it's like it's not a huge upgrade. Like I love 4K, super filmic, but I'm like $20 for that plus shipping or whatever. Haven't done it. Oh, Rocky and Bullwinkle would be great. I'd love to see it. You think the audience is there? I know every time they do these Amazon big deal days, they go back to Amazon Prime, whatever. They Monkeys are on Blu-ray. Hold on, I'll be there. Casa D18. I'll be there in just a second. Rocky and Bullwinkle, they do the whole set for like $20, like the whole thing for like $20. I paid 30 for it, I think. So now when I see it for 20, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't wait though, because that show is super fun. For like you can appreciate it as a kid, you could really appreciate it as an adult because it's like you can tell like it's one of those cartoons that's made by smart people that ages up well. The Monkeys is only available on Blu-ray through the Rhino. It's like it's the Rhino shop. Rhino is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, and they charged it's a nine. I want to say it's 9 discs, 9 Blu-rays, $200. So I didn't have it for years. I just couldn't pay it. And then one day, just a few months, it was in the summertime, I think it was, loyal Serial at Midnight viewer and supporter Hamdan, who's the guy that sent me Dark Shadows, which is right here actually. If I can pick this up without hurting my back, because it's quite heavy. Ugh. Ugh. So Hamdan sent me Dark Shadows. It was at the beginning of the summer. They were doing a 15% off sale, I think. So it brought it down, you know, a little bit, but then they add tax back onto it. I think it shipped for free, but it might not have. Anyway, Hamdan sent me a nice donation to Serial at Midnight, and I used that to buy the Monkeys. And that's the only way you can get it. It was out of print for a while. It wasn't out of print. It was just in a warehouse and nobody cared. Like they were just what I had heard. Again, you hear things, no official statements, but what I had heard from from sources, from anonymous sources, had told me that it had been damaged. Like it had a tendency to get damaged in shipping because it has this lenticular cover, and that it was falling apart in shipping. And so they disassembled, like they had a few that had been assembled, and like everything else is just it was sitting on a pallet in a warehouse, just untouched, and they were considering destroying them because it had been such a disaster. But then about 6 months ago, whenever it was, they put them back up for sale on the site. $200. That which is a terrible model anyway. You want to sell the monkeys. It's 9 Blu-rays. Okay, 79.99. Amazon. Put it on wherever Best Buy. Put it in every big box store retailer. Send it out to Walmart's, right? 79.99. You're not going to get more than that. The monkeys at the time, there were still 2 surviving monkeys. Mickey and Mike were on tour, taking the box sets with them to their merch table. People didn't buy it. Nobody's gonna pay $200 for 9 Blu-rays. The series is like 58 episodes or something like that. It had head too. Kung Fu would be amazing. I Dream of Jeannie is out on Blu-ray. There are problems. There's a problem with one episode, and I think a lot of those episodes are sourced maybe from an interlaced source, but that's what Sony gave Mill Creek. Mill Creek takes some crap from time to time about their video quality. Now, they do occasionally have encoding problems, but what I see more than that is they are given limited source materials from the parent studios, and from the studios that they license from. They just have to put that on disc. And what happened with I Dream of Jeannie is, if you remember, it was delayed by months. So my speculation brain, I'm like, well, what happened is they saw what they got, and they're like, this isn't good enough. Go find better sources. Crickets. Go find better sources. Crickets. And then eventually they're like, well, we just got to roll with what we got. That's what I think happened. Joss Whedon said that Scap says Joss Whedon said they won't be Buffy and Angel on Blu-ray. We're both Buffy on Blu-ray, something to do how it was filmed. Why? I don't know why not. The effects, they would have to upscale the effects. Because that's when you see the limitations. It's like I think we talked maybe last week about Paramount and Star Trek: The Next Generation, is they had to redo all those effects because the effects were finished in 480. And you got a 1080p format that looks like crap. Yeah, Ragnar, yes, I did have a bootleg of WKRP. There's a video about that here on my channel where I talk about how, because you can't visually tell one from the other. Talking about eBay bootlegs. And I got to tell you, man, they are everywhere. They are like everything you can imagine is bootlegged on eBay. Now, just a reminder for people that haven't, or if you haven't seen that video, if someone's selling more than one copy of something on eBay, it's probably a bootleg. It's probably a knockoff, because most people don't have stacks of inventory of legit releases in their house. But I did end up getting the official release, and the video quality is so much better. Still videotape, but so for people that are talking about DVDs, and you're like, yeah, the DVDs just don't look very good. Sometimes I wonder, because this comes up constantly. People are like, DVDs look like garbage. I'm like, you might have a fake. You might have a knockoff, because they use basically a single layer DVD. Nobody uses single layer DVDs anymore. I mean, nobody uses a single layer. So 4.7 gigabytes is the max you can get on a layer. But double layer technology has been around for like 20 years. And that's what everybody uses now. So you're getting like 8.5 to 9 gigabytes of data on a single DVD, because it has 2 layers. This is where things used to have that gold finish. They don't have that anymore. But back in the day, like 2001 or whatever, they had a gold hue, and you're like, oh, it's a double layer disc. So it's half of the video quality that you should be getting, and it looks like it. All right, what are you guys talking about here? Gotta make sure I'm caught up here. Somebody wants Warner Brothers to release Rankin and Bass 77, The Hobbit. That would be really those movies. The Greatest Adventure. That's my impression of The Hobbit. Isn't that on? Is that on Max? That's on something right now. I got a DVD around here somewhere, but yeah. Somebody said Laverne and Shirley on DVD looks surprisingly good. It does. Like a lot of those shows look really good. Look really good on DVD. Waiting for WKRP to get a 4K. Yeah. Yep. It's gonna be a while. Gonna be a while on that one. All right. So let's see. Let's talk about some new releases. So I talked already about It Came from Outer Space. This had 2 different versions. There was this version, and there was like Universal getting into the collector game, because they've been doing these ultimate collector sets, and you get like lobby cards, art cards. I think there might have been a poster. There's a book with like pages of the original press releases and stuff. Like, it's amazing stuff. But that was $15 more than this version, which is like 20 bucks. I was like, well, I love this movie. I love this movie. It's great. It came from outer space. This, like, you know me, right? If you're watching the channel, you're watching this live stream, you know I love 50s science fiction and horror and noir. I just love the 50s. Like if I could live in any time, but no, because it would be, it's like no, I wouldn't want to live in the 50s, but I love like the culture, man, the music. Huge doo-wop fan, huge early rock, like Elvis, like 1950. The music alone in 1955, just society alone, what's happening in pop culture in 1955, man. Disneyland is happening, and you got Elvis, and you got like all this stuff happening at Sun Records and Jerry Lee Lewis. It's a great time. Anyway, I love this stuff, and I just couldn't justify the $15 extra for. I mean, I'm already trying to conserve shelf space, and I couldn't justify the extra expense. But this is cool, and it's got the 3D version, the came from outer space, 4K version, and then the Blu-ray has the 3D version, which is, I think that's the native 3D. Like it's not the anaglyph, it's the hold on. Yeah, anaglyph is red blue, right? Or cyan red, whatever. And then polarized, right, is the actual glasses. Brain no work so good right now. But the 3D version is included on the Blu-ray. And then we got the Universe According to Universal feature commentary with Tom Weaver. Get out of town. Theatrical trailer, so that's cool. And then there's a couple of horror things that are hitting here. Rockabilly. That is what I'm talking about. And you know who's Bear Family? That was Illuminated Pro, by the way. Bear Family is really cranking out some great rockabilly collections on 10-inch vinyl. And they'll do this thing where they're a German company, but you can get like MVD distributes Bear Family in the US. And you get the 10-inch record, which has 10 songs, 12 songs, because they're like 2 minutes each. But then they'll put a CD in there too, and the CD will have like 30 songs. Like they max out an hour and 20 minutes. And you're like, what? So just want to shout out for my fellow rockabilly fans out there. They're doing it like every month. In fact, I think do I have one coming this month? Anyway, 2 new Visual Vengeance releases. You know, I really dig what Visual Vengeance is doing. So let's do these chronologically. This is number 11. We've covered all of them here. And these are, they're B movies. They're low budget movies. So this is Lichen Colony. And I know you won't be able to read this because the resolution is not good enough. But Welcome to New Hampshire, Live Free or Die. It's got the Riff Tracks version of the movie. For those that are into that, I think I've expressed my thoughts on that. But if you're into it, Riff Tracks is here. It says a disgraced alcoholic surgeon moves with his family to a small town in New Hampshire. Unbeknownst to them, the entire town is populated by werewolves, some good and others very evil. They soon find themselves thrust into an ancient mystical battle between the wolf packs that will change their family forever. An astoundingly ambitious and riveting example of pure outsider cinema, Lichen Colony's reputation is well earned. As every bizarre creative decision unfolds and you are dropped into its metaphysical alternate reality. It's the first time it's on Blu-ray. It's packed with bonus features, including the full Riff Tracks version and a brand new interview with the writer, producer, and director, Rob Roy. So we got one commentary by Rob Roy, one commentary by the Riff Tracks crew, the full Riff Tracks version of Lichen Colony, blooper reel, Lichen Colony music video, a trailer, Visual Vengeance trailer, 4-page liner notes and essay by Sam Panico, collectible fold-out mini poster, VHS stickers. Guess what else is in here? It's an air freshener. Hold on. What's the right way? Okay, Lichen Colony. It says New Hampshire forest scent. So I don't know. I might put this in my car, but what I smelled when I unboxed this the other day, when I opened it up, it smelled a little stinky. And I was like, I don't want my car to smell like that. Kind of patchouli vibes. You know what I'm saying? I want my car to smell like patchouli. Does it smell like a wet dog? I don't know. I'm trying to, I can smell it faintly. What I'm getting smells a little bit like patchouli, so I don't want that in my car. I use tropical, like what is it? Citrus Blast is one of the danglers, the mirror danglers, and I do a pina colada because I'm the tropical kind of guy. You know what I'm saying, baby? Hey, baby, you want to hop into my tropical mobile? All right, we have here's our stickers, VHS stickers. Here is our mini poster. And here is our, make sure everything's okay before I just blast that. Like, whoops. Yeah, I think that's okay. Anyway, I love the presentation. I mean, I've watched, what's the last one I watched? The last one I watched was Replicator. It's not good. But I'll tell you what, the interview with the director on that, it's a singularly focused director. And like he knew what he was making. He made it in just a few days. And there's a place for that. I want to talk more about B movies and Halloween stuff coming up because let's hang out for another 45 minutes or so. Because I'm watching the Friday the 13th movies again, and I have thoughts about what they do well and how other things try to chase them and don't work. So the next one we're going to talk about is vampires and other stereotypes, which I've honestly never heard of. A pair of paranormal investigators are making their nightly rounds on the seedy streets of New York City when they encounter a group of party hopping girls looking for a warehouse rave, who have also just accidentally opened a portal to hell. Oh, that's a bummer. What follows is a night of practical effects monster mayhem as the group try to save themselves and the entire planet from a demonic invasion. The first feature from prolific 1990s shot on video writer, producer, and director Kevin J. Lindemuth, Vampires and Other Stereotypes delivers creatures and characters that perfectly represent the offbeat genre movies that the video store era brought forth. So, I'm going to delve into this because this is a lot of special features. Archival 1994 SD master from the original 1-inch tape, SOV. Shot on video. Commentary with Kevin Lindemuth. Commentary with actor Mick McCleary and director Kevin Lindemuth. Commentary by Tony Strauss of Wings Chop magazine. Director interview, actress interview, actor interview, actress Susan Turner interviews, a lot of actor and actress interviews, makeup interview, makeup effects, special effects interview, photographer interview, publicist interview, behind the scenes image gallery, Kevin Lindemuth's early Super 8 films with directors, commentary, this keeps going. Stick your own VHS sticker set. Oh, hold on, skipped over some stuff. Visual Vengeance trailers, 6-page liner notes. All right. Here's did I show you the inner case of Lichen Colony? Well, you saw the poster, so you saw that art. And then it's reversible too. I'm failing to do my due diligence here. That was Lichen Colony. I think it's appropriate to set expectations correctly because people are going to go to this movie and they're going to be like, all right, well, I love The Howling. I love An American Werewolf in London. I even like what's the one? Dog Soldiers. I even like Dog Soldiers. And they're going to have a very different experience out of this. Set expectations accordingly. So this Vampires and Other Stereotypes. That's cool art. And then but a lot of us are older millennials and Gen Xers, and we even got some boomers here. We grew up in the video store when this stuff was all around. Now, I think my video store was probably limited at this point because what happened was we had a mom and pop video. We had several mom and pop video stores, and then Blockbuster came in, kill them, and then Hollywood Video came in and killed Blockbuster. But you didn't see a lot of this stuff in my store. Making sure all this is okay to show you guys. Here's the booklet. I like reading about my movies. And I'll do put these stickers back in here. Anybody seen any of these ginger snaps? Right on. That's a very highly respected movie right there. Hold on, let me catch up with you guys. Speaking of vampires, waiting for so long for an upgrade of Near Dark. Yeah, what's up with Near Dark? James Cameron slam. Yeah, hey, where's True Lies in the Abyss? I thought those were supposed to be on Blu-ray by the end of the year. That's why I did not report on that. I try my best not to report on rumors because the minute you put that in a video, people think it's a fact. And it's not. Wolf Cop, right on. From MVD, 4 Bullets for Joe. This is a This is Euro, right? The mysterious death of a man who is about to leave a small town in Kansas with his girlfriend sets off a series of unfortunate events that will only end when her brother, the legendary and notorious gunslinger Frank Dalton, exacts a ruthless and bloody revenge. So yeah, Eurochin presents a Phoenix Film Silverbim production. This is directed by Augustin Navarro. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know who that is. And have not seen this before. So this is going to be discovery for me. Fred Canal, Paul Piaget, Barbara Nelly. What year is this? 1964. Oh, that's early. That's early in that Euro Western cycle. But kudos to MVD. This is a budget release too. This is part of the MVD Classics line. I think I saw it for $15, which is it might have even been less than that. From Synapse, Tombs of the Blind Dead. This is the 2-disc Blu-ray edition. I'm not going to read the back of this to you guys, but we have disc 1 is the original Spanish language and English-Spanish hybrid soundtrack versions. Disc 2 is the U.S. theatrical version. And the disc 1 version has many special features. Trying to get past like the optional English subtitles. Okay. Audio commentary by Troy Howarth. Audio commentary by with star Lone Fleming. Audio commentary with Rod Barnett and Troy Gwynn of the Nashi Cast podcast. Marauders from the Mediterranean, a feature-length documentary exploring the history of the Spanish zombie film, featuring interviews with Night of the Living Dead producer Joe Russo. I'm not going to read all that either. Let's see. Oh, Kim Newman. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Where does this special feature start? Tombs of the Blind Dead. Okay, where does this start? Oh, he's involved. So like 5 lines of people that are involved with that feature-length thing. So Kim Newman's in there too. Revenge of Planet Ape, the alternate U.S. opening sequence, awakening of Spanish horror cinema. Don't you just love when I sit and read to you? It's just a lot of information. That's one of the challenges. I've talked about that before. It's one of the challenges of covering stuff like this on YouTube. That's why I love to write. A lot of you guys read my stuff over at serialatmidnight.com and Letterboxd and all the places that it goes up. Soon you'll be reading me in releases as well. But you can get so much more information out in the written form. What it comes down to in a video like this is it's hard to convey some of this information in a visual format because you just end up reading to somebody, and that's not good. Shozama 85, Heath, after I finished Forbidden Hollywood collection, any pre-code recommendations? Have you seen well, hold on, what's Forbidden Hollywood? You know, Warner Brothers put out 9 or 10 volumes of pre-code collections. I think those are called Forbidden Hollywood. Is that what you're talking about? There's so much. And then oh geez, this is my brain. Flickr Alley put out a pre-code collection too. I think that's called Forbidden Hollywood too. There's a lot of stuff out there. All right. This is what I'm really interested in. Heads up, UK people. VHS Godfather, the Vipco story. So this is about video nasties. Explore the history of the infamous and beloved UK home video label from the creator himself, Michael Lee, appearing on camera for the first time ever to tell his story. Vipco brought many bizarre and horror-related titles to the UK shores in the 80s on home video, but ended up getting caught in the video nasty scandal. They returned bigger than ever in the aughts with the launch of DVD. So this is from Filmlandia, a company called Filmlandia, and I have not watched it yet, but I know that the UK audience, the whole video nasty thing, like it's a huge deal. So I'm really curious because even the disc looks cool, man. Do we have any UK people here? And can you comment on the video nasties? Thanks, Bean Dude. Appreciate you, man. I really do. By the way, reminder: super chats will be prioritized. We'll make that our next conversation topic. Um, Nobody's commenting on Video Nasties. I'm surprised, so I'm going to keep on going. This is from Liberation Hall. This is the original Heaven Can Wait. It's not actually called Heaven Can Wait. It's called well, they're calling it Heaven Can Wait. Joey Bishop has a whale of a part in this pixelated tale about a boxer who is taken to the gates of heaven before his time and has to spend the rest of his allotted life on earth filling the bodies of just departed souls. So this is from 1943, I want to say. Anyway, running out of steam on these. And then here, this is the other thing. Nobody talking about Video Nasties? Nobody talking about Video Nasties. All right. I'm really surprised. Maybe the UK audience is maybe it's prime time for them, so they're not here. These all these that we're about to talk about come from cheesy movies. And they are cranking them out. There's 6 here. 6 new releases from cheesy movies. Now they started they were on my radar. That looks like the live TV. Look, Eric pulling us out here. The live TV version of Here Comes Mr. Jordan. I think that's exactly what it is. It doesn't say that, but Tony Franciosa, Joey Bishop, Wally Cox, Elizabeth Ashley. 2 versions on one disc, as originally broadcast and commercial free. But it never says Here Comes Mr. Jordan. But I think that is exactly what it is. So thank you for that deep, deep knowledge. Is Jonathan here? Jonathan Melville's here? Yeah, he's in the UK. Okay. Cheesy movies. They know what they're doing. So we got Unknown World, Treasure of Teopa. I mean, I should show you this. They're not, it's not remastered or anything like that. These are just like public domain quality. I don't know that all the movies are in public domain, but they don't look great. Throw Out the Anchor. UFO Target Earth. Women of Devil's Island, sorry. And then this is one a lot of people are interested in. It's Tarantino, Bud Spencer, Boot Hill. But I don't if you see, these movies are frequently on YouTube, and it looks like what's on YouTube. So there's no video incentive to upgrade, but it's ownership, right? You get to own it. So that's really cool for people that are into that. I like it, and it's just nice to have them. I guess they're like $9.99 on Amazon or wherever. I've only actually seen them on Amazon and on MVD's website, because MVD is doing the heavy lifting to distribute these in the USA. Jonathan does not have much to say on Video Nasties. Okay, well, I know they were a huge deal, right? So I'm curious about how. So we didn't have anything equivalent to that in the US. For people that the US audience watching, apparently, the Video Nasties was like this big conservative-led backlash against horror movies in the 80s in Britain, where they were just removing these movies from existence. They were saying it was a threat to society, kind of like what Dungeons and Dragons was going through here, but we never removed it. Or like the PMRC, the PRMC, was PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center. That's it, PMRC. Just the whole like satanic panic kind of a thing, but just being really afraid, like our satanic panic. That's exactly right. Yes, we're all on the same page. Yeah. So I'm curious to hear from this guy about what his experiences were like from the inside. So that's the new releases that came this week. That's this week's movie mail. But I also wanted to shout out the new releases that are coming out this next week, because I figured this was a good place to talk about that. So this coming week, Barbie hits 4K, which I haven't seen. The Last Voyage of the Demeter hits Blu-ray. I know people are ticked off that it's not on 4K. Did anybody? So I haven't seen that one either. Had anybody seen the what's the name of that movie? Blood Vessel. It got a release from Umbrella, and it's I think it's an Australian maybe it's an Australian and German co-production. It's kind of the same story as The Last Voyage of the Demeter, take out the Dracula element, but it's these people end up boarding a boat, an abandoned boat in the middle of the water. I believe they're trying to survive. It's, by the way, it's like World War II, if memory serves. They end up, they're adrift in the water. There's a ship. They get on the ship. The ship's abandoned. There's nobody on it. They go down into the hold, and there's there's a casket down there. There's a big, like a big stone box, and they open the box, and there's a vampire inside, and then horror ensues. It's really cool, and it's done mostly with practical effects. I'm sure there's some CGI, but one of the goals of the movie was do it old school. So like it's suits, like foam latex suits and stuff like that. Great makeup stuff. Great makeup stuff. So anyway, Last Voyage of the Demeter comes out. Has anybody seen that? And if you did, what did you think about it? Haunted Mansion, the Disney Haunted Mansion hits Blu-ray. Haven't seen that one yet. I don't know that I'm ever gonna watch it. I should. I'm a huge Haunted Mansion fan. I just don't think that concept lends itself to a movie. I mean, goodness knows they've tried. But Haunted Mansion is my favorite Disney ride. The Way We Were on 4K, Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand, that's hitting 4K this week. Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers, the Criterion Collection release with Freaks, The Unknown, and The Mystic, that's coming Tuesday. I think it's Shout Factory, Scream Factory. Are they saying Scream Studios? Because it's Shout Studios now. Is it Shout Factory or Scream Studios now? Or Scream, whatever. You know what I'm saying. The Blob. The Blob hits 4K. The 1988 version of The Blob. Dwight Fry was the best Renfield. Nathan, if I'm going to do a Video Nasties episode, I got to do it with a UK person that actually lived through it. So I'll put the call out. This is a call. Titans, the complete fourth season, hits Blu-ray this week. I like the first couple of seasons of that. I hated it at the beginning because the pilot, they were like, they said it's Robin, right? It's like a dark future version, different version of the Teen Titans, and Robin's like, F Batman, and I was like, ugh. And I just feel like it was trying so hard. For me, the harder something tries to be gritty, the more funny it is. Because like it just seems silly. It's just like teen angst. It's like, well, this is kind of silly. But but the rest of the season actually won me over, and I really liked it. They brought in like Jason Todd and all this kind of cool stuff from comics. But then I was watching on the making of I don't know if it's on streaming, but on the disc version, there's a making of when they talk to one of the producers, and he literally says, "This ain't your daddy's Titans." Anytime someone says this ain't your daddy's whatever, go the other direction. They don't know what they're talking about. That is a huge red flag, because that says to me, we think this is broken and we're going to fix it. And I'm sorry, that's a terrible place to come from, to start your point of creation by going, this is broken, we're going to fix it. Sidebar, I think that's a lot of what's wrong with Warner Brothers at DC, or DC at Warner Brothers right now, is that the executives, not necessarily the creators, the executives think those characters are broken and have to be fixed for a modern audience. And they're not broken. They've been around for 80 plus years for a reason. It's just what I think. The Walking Dead, the complete collection, hits Blue this week. Psych, a show I've never watched, but I've heard so many good things about it. Because when that news came out, Psych, the complete collection on Blu-ray with the movies too, people were really excited. And I'm like, did I miss something? This is one of those USA shows. Now, I'll say this too. Somebody said the other day, I was lamenting, I watched Superman and Lois, going back to how Warner Brothers thinks all these characters are broken. I was like, it's just like a funeral. It was like a 13-episode funeral. It's just like, it's a Superman show that takes place almost entirely at night, black skies, everybody's looking like they're constipated and just for the whole season. And somebody was like, those USA shows seem better than we didn't know what we had, talking about Burn Notice and Psych and shows like that. So I haven't really seen any of those. I didn't watch Burn Notice. I didn't watch Psych. So I don't know. Psych is so the Page Master. Psych is my absolute favorite show. One of my absolute favorite shows ever. RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop, that hits Blu-ray this week too. That's going to be a big deal. So, and these are just the A-list releases. These aren't even like the deep cuts. Kino Lorber's got stuff coming out. A lot of the boutiques have stuff coming out. This is just the stuff that you're probably going to be able to walk into someplace and find, or that'll be on Amazon or something like that. So I wanted to shout those out. We got news this week. Burn Notice was a lot of. I mean, I hear Burn Notice was great. I was waiting on a Blu-ray complete series because it was the DVD set goes for about $50, right? I kept waiting for a Blu-ray, and no key. I don't know where it is. I don't know. Psych. Hey, maybe if Psych sells really well, we'll get a Burn Notice Blu-ray. See all the Psych jokes. Come on, son. Yo, that's cool. Are these Psych jokes? They gotta be. I don't know. I feel really out of touch. I'm off in 50s land, not watching Psych. I'm like, well, yeah, but I watched this great. Yeah, but I watched this great film noir. See, there was this guy. He was in over his head. See, he had to get out. See. The only thing I watch on USA Network is WWE wrestling. Pluto. Did I hear about Pluto? I don't know if that's directed at me. Well, I don't know. No, I don't know what you're talking about. But the planet Pluto or like the network? I don't know. What's going on with Pluto? Oh, it's a cycline. We're really left out right now. Well, that's cool, I guess. All right, guys. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is coming December 5th. See, this is where if I had that software, if I was paying for that software, which is $20 a month, I could any super chats out there? Any shirt sales? And by the way, Patreon and YouTube memberships. I'm going to hit those because listen, guys, this is like the $5 a month you can support Serial at Midnight. That's cheaper than you pay for shipping on your order, right? Your Blu-ray order, $5 a month you support Serial at Midnight, and then I can go pay for the software. It's all out of pocket. I could do the drag. I could be like, and Dindiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is hitting on December 5th, and then I could just like go up to that screen and I'm like, oh, there it is. I see the release date. There's going to be standard, like a 4K version, Blu-ray version. Best Buy is getting a I hate to say it now. It was that Best Buy is getting the Steelbook. I think that's right. I posted all this earlier this week, and now I'm forgetting who got what. And Walmart's getting a version that has something in there. And I was like, oh, they're still doing like the retailer exclusives. Does that still matter? Are we still doing retail? I'm blocking one of my shirts, by the way. This is one of my favorites. This is from Nate, who does design work for Vinegar Syndrome, some of the Vinegar Syndrome partner releases, some of the cover art. He designed this shirt, which is, of course, we're gonna call it the night Heath came home. Anyway, it's weird that there are retailer exclusives still because it feels like that is a previous era to me. But I guess it's not, right? So go figure. But anyway, we were wondering if that was going to be a streaming exclusive Indiana Jones for Disney. That was the speculation because they held off that announcement for a while. And I think maybe that was the thinking. Again, no confirmation, no statements. I think they were like, let's keep this one back for streaming, make it a Disney Plus draw. And then, that doesn't look good. And when you're trying to raise $9 billion for a Hulu purchase, which is what Disney's trying to do. By the way, let's talk about that really quick. Rumor now is that Comcast, instead of wanting 9.2 billion, that now they want 11 billion for Hulu. So if Disney still wants to buy the majority share of Hulu, they have to cough up another $2 billion. If only there was some catalog that they had that they could monetize to raise money. If only there was some multi-billion dollar industry that still existed that they weren't really tapping. Well, that could really do it, couldn't it? He said the Dial of Destiny wouldn't draw flies. I don't even know. It's so far off my radar. I don't even know how well it did. Did it do all right? And I saw a lot of people were like, if you squint, it's kind of fun. I'm like, no, thank you. That's another. I'll probably never watch it. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade. That is your perfect trilogy. They literally ride off into the sunset. Oh, did it tank? Tanked and it bombed. With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their tanks. Yeah. It's almost like it shouldn't have been made, isn't it? It's almost like it was flawed from the beginning. Yeah, someone said they haven't seen an Indiana Jones film since The Last Crusade. You're winning. You are winning. It's the perfect endpoint. Anything after that is diminished returns. At some point, our society is going to cotton on to this idea. It's from an executive level, but people still go see this stuff. These properties are not endless. They don't, nothing can last forever. Even cold November rain. These things have a lifespan. And I don't like when I think of Indiana Jones, I think of like 35-year-old Harrison Ford. And what is he like 41 or something in the time of the Last Crusade, dealing with his father? The idea that there's an 80-year-old Indiana Jones, he's older than 80 now, right? Why? Why? Well, the answer is money. The answer is because it's a property that Disney wanted to leverage to exploit. They want to exploit that name for merchandising. Indiana Jones, the t-shirt. They want to monetize that name. Monetize it with the legacy that it already has, man. Listen, man. It's not that hard. We're getting all these franchises that are just like taking a pee on the legacy of what we already love. Listen, guys, at some point they're going to do more Back to the Future. It's going to happen. Everything we love, they're going to try to, well, what if we do a sequel? Recast Marty McFly, recast Doc Brown, just, Back to the Future again. It's going to happen. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible. Somebody picked up on my zombie reference. They wanted to be a passing of the torch to what's her name. Yeah. Eric Stoltz. If Eric Stoltz played Doc Brown, that would actually be really, really clever. Somebody said Doctor Who was destroyed. I mean, kind of, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are on the same page here. Well, I don't know. It's like, and I don't want to be the guy who's like against everything new. But then again, it's not new, is it? It's not new. It's a rehash of something that I got to enjoy the first time around. Like, are they going to dust off Jaws? Are they going to dust off? I'm trying to think of what some of these great, like ET2. Like, is that going to happen? I feel like it has to happen at some point. Because some guy's going to be sitting in an office with a big old fat stogie, lighting it with $100 bills, and he's going to go like, "What do we have that we can exploit?" And somebody's going to be like, "E.T." And then be like, "What if he came back? And we were terrible to him all over again, and he dried up and he was white. And we had to just powdery and white and all dehydrated. We'll break their hearts all over again." Like somebody's thinking that. So you guys are funny. All right, we got like 15 minutes left. I wanted to talk a little bit about horror movies because listen, honestly, this is probably the last live stream I'm going to be able to do before the end of October. There'll be videos, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do another live stream because it's about to get really crazy for me behind the scenes here. I got due dates, man. I got deadlines. But I'm watching some horror movies. I've watched Urban Legend. I revisited that and I had a really good time with it. I really like that movie. I saw that in theaters in 98, I think it was. So that tail end of the exploitation cycle that Scream. Oh, hold on, put a pin in it. Scott has done a super chat. Do it. Did you see Bill Hunt's comment? Thank you, Scott. Did you see Bill Hunt's comment on how all of his audience is screaming for product and most studios are ignoring disc consumers that are eager to buy? I did see that comment. I'm not sure what I think about that comment, but I saw it because he says most studios are ignoring disc consumers. Is that true? Disney is. I don't know about anybody besides Disney. Universal is cranking them out. Universal is responsible for like 25 new releases a month. So you have Universal, what they release themselves, which by the way, it came from outer space. That's Universal. Psych, that's Universal. Psych, the complete series of Psych that's coming out. They're doing a bunch of stuff to get stuff. Columbo, licensed from Universal. But then through Shout Factory, through Shout Studios, it's so confusing. Through Kino Lorber, right? Like it's like when I talk about the noir collections alone, that's like 3 movies, and then westerns, like it's about 25 a month just from Universal. Warner Brothers is doing 4Ks of their, what did we just talk about? What's the Warner Brothers 4K? We'll talk about The Fugitive last live stream. They're at least a couple a month, big titles from Warner Brothers. They could do more. For sure they could do more. Warner Brothers needs to license their catalog. They need to play the game that most other companies are playing. Paramount's licensing out. It's really Disney. It's Disney and Fox. That's the problem. And again, that's kind of where my sarcasm comes from, where I'm like, if only they want to raise all this money for this Hulu purchase. If only they had these assets that they could leverage to bring in all this extra money. They've taken hundreds, probably thousands of movies out of print. All the Marilyn Monroe movies that were with Fox, all the John Wayne movies that were with Fox. Frank Sinatra was at Fox for a while. These are classic movies. Now, I don't know how many, those aren't going to sell, 100,000 copies or 10,000 copies, but monetize them, put them out, and let the boutique people buy them. And then, like, okay, they've done Snow White 4K, Cinderella 4K. What? You're sitting on what, like 100 animated classics, like 50 animated classics. Crank them out on 4K, make some money. So I do agree with that aspect of it. I think there's nuance in that comment. And I'm sure he wanted the blurb. He quoted himself. He wanted the blurb. He wanted the visibility. He wanted that to get shared around, and it did. He broke the Best Buy story. He wanted to capitalize on that by getting as much visibility on that quote as possible. And I agree with the sentiment of the quote. There's nuance to it as well, because other studios are actually cranking stuff out. But if Disney would get on board what everybody else is doing, man, we would not be like, I mean, we're already tapped out, right? That's the thing too. Like, we want it, but we couldn't buy it. Like, give us more movies. Meanwhile, we're like looking at empty wallets. We're like, I got 50 cents and I'll give you $1.25 for it. Oh man, give me some James Cagney 4K, The Public Enemy, White. Oh, yes. YASSS. Thank you, Scott. That was a great topic. What was I talking about? Oh, horror movies. This is probably the last one before Halloween. So I'm doing the Nightmare. The Nightmare. I'm doing the Friday the 13th. I've been talking for almost 80 minutes straight. So bear with me here, guys. I'm doing the Friday the 13th movies. I'm probably only going to make it through the first 4. I've seen them before, right? But it's been a few years. They're starting to get a little like I'm forgetting parts of them. So I want to refresh myself. So I want to watch the first 4 during October. And so I watched one on Friday the 13th, Friday. And then I watched part 2 last night. And they're not great. They have problems. Like, I don't want to be like, well, they're perfect movies. No, they're not perfect movies. They don't make sense, first of all. They want to have the twist at the end, but it doesn't make sense. And you just go like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine. It's fun. Let them have their fun. It's okay. They don't make any sense, but they're fun. And then what they really nail that a lot of the imitators don't know how to do is the sense of, well, first of all, the characters, because you got all the counselors, you have all these characters, and you're kind of invested in them. Even if it's like, from like, oh, this person's a douche, I want to see them get killed or whatever. But like, okay, part 2, you get the guy in a wheelchair. So you're watching a horror movie where he's slower than everybody else, right? And they could have done more with it, but that's my point is, and some of them later they do more with that. But you have characters, right? And then you have this cat and mouse game where the premise of these movies allows the filmmaker to bring the viewer through like a virtual spook house, right? A virtual haunted house, sort of bring you through the maze with the movie. And what they do really well is they establish a sense of location. Yeah, you're in the woods, right? But so there's Friday the 13th part 2. There's an assault in the cabin. Okay. And I'm going to be vague for anybody that hasn't seen it. There's an assault in the cabin. And our protagonist, Amy Steele, the final girl, is running throughout the house. You always know where you are in the house. And they really use, it's like Psycho, right? It's got this classic tension that other horror movies, When I say other horror movies, there's a lot of Friday the 13th imitators, and there's a lot of micro budget movies that have no budgets, and you don't have to have a budget to plan a scene. Your budget's going to go to resources. It's going to go to your actors. It's going to go to locations. It's going to go to, back in the day, film stock. But if you're shooting something on video, well, you don't have a budget for that. If your actors are volunteers, you don't have a budget for that. You can make a really great horror movie for a few $1,000s, but you don't. People don't. And it's because they're missing one of the key elements, which is suspense and bringing the viewer on that cat and mouse ride. So that's free, you know, setting something up earlier that is going to be paid off in a little while, and then just like working towards that thing. They're very well constructed, aside from the parts at the end that don't make any sense, you know. And think about how out of this comes this huge lore. You got all these characters that we really love, like the whole Tommy thing, and it's just really interesting to me how I was watching it. I've seen these movies so many times over the years, and it really hit me last night that from a crafting perspective, from an actual structure perspective, they are really suspenseful, you know? And that's something that other movies could do, but they don't. So that's my thoughts about that. Do I recommend? Have I seen Lionel Barrymore, Mark of the Vampire? I've seen it. I don't remember it. That's one of the unfortunate consequences of what I do here. And the let's be honest, it's a privileged position that I'm in. Yeah, the part with the snake bothers me because they didn't have to do that. And I know it's a snake. I don't want to be like, oh, like let's put it in its proper place. But like, they didn't have to do that. I imagine that there's some serious regret about that because that's haunted them all these years, chopping up that snake. They could have used a rubber snake, and like nobody would have cared. It would have made no difference whatsoever. But then we got cannibal movies where they're like pulling turtles out of their shells and stuff. Horrible, much more horrible stuff. But one of the consequences of what I do here is that I am constantly putting information into my brain, and it doesn't always stick. It rarely sticks. If I'm watching, I mean, I talk about like 100 movies a month. We're not made for that. The human brain is not made for that. So it doesn't, a lot of it, like I did see that, but I don't remember it. So one of the reasons I try to write reviews after I watch a movie is because I know that in 5 years, I go back and look at my reviews sometimes. I'm like, did I watch that? And then I read it. I'm like, oh yeah. Sometimes I read my reviews. I have no memory of the movie whatsoever, which is crazy, but it happens. Like our brains aren't meant to just put in constantly. So sometimes things fall back out. I'm also getting older. That's something that is part of the conversation too, is I'm getting older. That's why, yeah, Nathan says that's why Friday the 13th is iconic. They're actually well done movies for low budget genre. Yeah. And all those imitators that want to recreate them, they get the monster. They're like, let's have this monster chase things in the woods. But then you just end up with people walking around the woods with nothing to do. And we're not interested in the characters. And there's no suspense. We're just waiting for whatever's going to happen. It just makes what could be suspenseful routine. And that's free. Suspense is free. It just comes with good writing. I have not seen The Final Girls. Michael said that The Final Girls 2015 is a good movie. I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it around, but I haven't watched it. Somebody watched ACDC 09, rewatched Attack of the Killer Tomatoes for the first time in ages and enjoyed it. Jason X. Yeah, see, that's where I jump off. I mean, I saw it. And I got it. It's right there. It's right there. I just don't think like Jason in the digital age, it doesn't work for me. Putting CGI in a Friday the 13th movie, it just doesn't work for me. And that goes back to our concept about franchises not having an endless lifespan. Like, they went to court for those rights for Friday the 13th. You can't just keep making this stuff and people care. That's one of the problems I have with these new Halloween movies. And I know people love them. And I did a video with Jeff from Films at Home about Halloween Ends. And then I did that with him. And we talked about John Carpenter. And I just feel like whatever I want from Halloween as a franchise, I was done with by like number 5, like it doesn't just, I mean, listen, I saw Resurrection in theaters. I've been there to support the franchise, but I just feel like it is diminished returns. These are not endless concepts. There are more Halloween movies than there are Batman movies. And Batman's been around for 80 years. You can't tap the well over and over and over. Eventually, you do have to switch the formula. Suzanne Summers is gone. Hold on, guys. I'm just seeing the news that Suzanne Summers is gone. Is that true? Oh, no. The live stream has come to a stop while I wait for confirmation. Scott agrees with me on Halloween. And it doesn't mean that there's nothing there for us, like, but we did it, you know? Oh, man. Yeah. How sad. Piper Laurie and then Suzanne Summers. That's terrible. All right, let's not end it on a down note. Let's not end it on a down note. So, okay. So what do you like? What are you watching for Halloween? I'm going to try to make it through the first 4 Friday the 13th movies, and then we're gonna watch these Visual Vengeance movies probably. But every year around Halloween time, I like to do the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, usually twice because I talked about that. Did you guys watch my interview with the basically the keepers of the Charlie Brown flame? It's the it's Lee Mendelssohn's sons, Jason and Sean, who are their father died. He was the producer of over 24 Charlie Brown animated specials, and he's passed away. They're continuing his work, and they're getting the music out of the vaults. They found the original Vince Guaraldi session tapes. They've been missing for decades. They found the session tapes, and now we're getting these complete soundtracks remixed so that it sounds like, I mean, it's like being in the front row of a jazz show. It's amazing. Hopefully you guys watched that interview. It's not getting the views that I had hoped it would. It's one of the things that kind of like it bothers me when I put up the Best Buy news, which like I know why the Best Buy story is popular, right? Because like we all know Best Buy. We love Best Buy. But don't we also love the Charlie Brown shorts, the Charlie Brown specials too? The Charlie Brown thing had like 600 and something views, and then the Best Buy story is like 11,000 or something like that. I'm like, guys, check out the Charlie Brown interview that I did with Lee Mendelssohn's sons because they were super cool, and they dropped some announcements. They told us stuff in that video too. Anyway, I'm gonna watch Great Pumpkin. I do like to watch the first Halloween movie, usually on Halloween night because it's so appropriate, right? It's like I watched Friday the 13th. When I pulled Friday the 13th from my collection the other night, it was Friday night. I pulled it and it was like 10 o'clock at night. I plopped it down on the table, and Bree goes, "That's a little on the nose, isn't it?" It's like, that's my wife. It's my wife. She's like, "That's a little obvious, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna do it." She's and it is, but like a Halloween, I like to watch the first Halloween movie. I love what's happened with Halloween 3, by the way, because like for a long time, people were like, Halloween 3 sucks. And now there's been the backlash against that. Which like, no, Halloween's really cool because it's the only one that tried to do something really, really different. Great Pumpkin on 4K. That's right. I got my right here. I got my holiday collection right here. I will also be watching the Garfield Halloween. What is it called? Garfield's Halloween Adventure. I didn't watch it. I still have not seen this. I might watch this year, separated from all the kerfuffle, separated from all the negativity and the hype, just so I can go in without any expectations and just see it for whatever it is or whatever it isn't, you know? All right, guys, we'll be wrapping it up in just a second here, but I want to make sure that I'm caught up on the chat. Blake says the only way to continue Halloween is to make Laurie's grandchild the new Michael Myers. They'll figure something out. I remember, so Nicholas Meyer, the director of The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Spoilers for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, if you haven't seen it. It's a 40-year-old movie. But Spock dies at the end of that movie. And he says in his book, it's called From the Director's Chair, and he says in his book, he had always intended he was like, we meant it. The plan was for Spock to die. And then, of course, the next movie, part 3, is The Search for Spock, where they bring Spock back. And he said in his book, he's like, who was I to argue with all that popcorn? They had all that popcorn to sell. And I've always thought about that as like, no matter the intentions of the directors, the studios, they're like, well, we got to sell popcorn. So they'll do whatever they got to do to sell popcorn. They'll bring Halloween back somehow. So I don't know, man. Hopefully it gets better. Heath's wife is super chill. Heath's wife is a lot like me. When I'm more chill when the camera's not rolling. We're both really introverted. But yeah, I mean she's pretty great. She's made for me. Spock did have Kevin said Spock had a great death. He had a great death. And it didn't stick. Think about if that was the end of Spock. There's power in that, you know? I think about all the Marvel movies that because they do like that's the joke. Like a Marvel movie kills somebody off and then they bring him back before the end of the movie. Like and you guys see this Kevin Feige rumor. It's a rumor that they're gonna bring back some of the legacy characters that have been retired from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to boost flagging sales. Is how I would interpret it. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just a rumor, but nothing's forever. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts forever, even cold November rain. That's where we'll leave it. All right, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me, hanging out with me. This is 2 live streams in a row. You know, I'm going to tell you, I was really hesitant about getting back into the live streams because when I was doing it a few years ago, turnout was low. The level of I wasn't getting much engagement. I felt like I was just having to juggle constantly because you guys weren't like there wasn't the engagement that there is now. So this is great. There's a lot of you here, and I really, really appreciate you being here. I appreciate the time that you spend with me at Serial at Midnight. I know that there's a certain element of there's a lot of negativity on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to say. That there's just a lot of negativity, and there's so many people that are vying for your attention that see you as a market, and that's not me. I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that we're hanging out together and that you're a part of this, and I appreciate you. And I know that you see it, right? You see that I'm not presenting to you a character. I'm presenting to you the real Heath. And so I was concerned about that. We've done 2 of these now where I feel really good about these. When I hit end on this stream, I feel really good about it. That's because of you. So thank you guys so much. Fresh videos, at least 2 fresh videos coming this week. Again, thrift store video. I don't remember what number it is, 38, something like that. It was a really cool thrift store video. And a cool horror related interview that I'm not going to spoil for you. But I'll catch you in the comments. I'll catch you online on all the social media platforms. Remember, serialatmidnight.com is a hub you should be visiting on a daily basis because I'm constantly posting things there, not just videos, but reviews and so much more. Thanks so much. Take care. Until next time, I will catch you later.